Hi there, this is Miss Rees. This lesson I'm going to be teaching you how to do the AppInventor assignment. First of all, if you're doing it at home, it's very different than if you're doing it at school. At least the files are going to be in different places. So if you're doing it at home, you're going to be downloading the basic stuff from my website. But it's still basically the same thing. All you really need is a computer access to be able to do this and have internet access. So I'm going to show you sometimes how you would do it if you were at home and how you would do it at school. So first of all, in my classroom, if you're in my classroom, then you're going to just go to 404, College and Career Awareness, Information Technology, AppInventor, and you'll see that there's all these backgrounds, images, and sounds. If you're doing this at home, you're not going to have access to all this. You'll just be downloading the one that's off of the website. So if you're in my classroom, you have a lot of choices. You can do lots of different backgrounds, lots of different sounds, lots of images. If you're at home, I'll just have one sound, one image, one background. That's what you do, okay? But either way, same points, it's good. So I'm going to go to AppInventor MIT. If you're at home, then just type that into Google, AppInventor MIT, either way, to pull that up, okay? And you want to make sure that you're on the one that looks, oh, by the way, it's going to ask you to log into your email address, okay? It has to attach to, oh, by the way, sorry, make sure you go to AppInventor 2 when you go to that, okay? And I'll have a link on your website, but it will want to connect to your email address. Just use your school email address, that's totally fine. It may ask you to accept terms of the agreement. It's going to ask you if you want to take a survey, just say no, until you get to this screen right here. Now I have a whole bunch of stuff in here because I teach this lesson all the time, so yours is going to be empty, okay? But what you're going to do is start a new project, okay? When you give it a project name, just call it 4th or 5th, or actually you can't do numbers, so I'm just going to call it hello or something. I don't care what you call it. You can change the name later if you want. And we're going to click OK, and what it's going to do is give me a blank screen. Now on the left side, you have what's called your palette, and these are all drawers, okay? If you open that drawer, there's a bunch of tools inside that drawer. And so this is all the different tools we can use. We're going to use tools from these three, okay? The user interface, layout, and media. This is your screen. You can't type in it. It's only a viewer. It just shows you what it's going to look like, okay? Over here is all the components. So as you pull in images or buttons or sounds or whatever, they're all going to be listed over here. Right now we only have one component, which is the screen, okay? And because I've got the screen highlighted, all the properties of that component are showing up. If I had another component in here, it would show, I could click on that one and look at the properties for that component. All right, so we're going to make a couple of changes to our screen. The first thing we're going to do is change our background color. So if you're at home, this one's really easy. Just grab a color. You can go to custom and you can pick any color you want. And that's perfectly fine. If you just want to pick a color and be done, you're fine. You can also pick a background image. If you're getting the files on my online website, there's one background you can choose from. If you're in my classroom, you can go to upload file, choose file, and then you can go get it. So if you go to desktop, and I know my computer looks a little different than yours, but desktop, go to 404, College and Career Awareness, Information Technology, AppInventor, just where we went to at the beginning of this, this video. And you go to backgrounds, and there's a bunch of them in there. Okay, these are all just backgrounds that I've created. Yours may look like this though. It's probably going to look like a list and you won't be able to see them. So if you want to see them, just pull this little arrow down and do large icon. Again, if you're at home, just either do a color or do the one background that I provided for you, okay? So I'm just going to pick this background, I click OK, and now I've created a background for my app, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is a button. So I'm going to go over to my user interface. I'm going to grab my button and drag it on top. Okay, now notice that my button is over on the left. You might be, oh, I want to center that. Well, the only way to center it is to go back to my screen component. Notice now I have a button component. Go back to my screen and set my horizontal alignment, no, sorry, my vertical alignment to center. Oh, I always get those two mixed up. So you can kind of decide if you want it completely in the center. You can decide how it's centered based on that. That is up to you, okay? And that might change depending on what picture you choose, okay? So with this button, we're going to turn this button into an actual picture. So I'm going to come over here all the way down to image and go to upload file. Again, if you're doing this at home, your only option is the one image that I provided for you. If you're in my classroom, you're going to go back to AppInventor and you're going to go to images, and there's a bunch of images you can choose. If you're at home, then you just pick the magic 8-ball image. That's the only one I provided with you. If you're in my classroom, you can pick any one of these images, but I'm just going to do the magic 8-ball. I double click on that and that becomes my image, my button. Okay, and it's a little off center because I didn't move it over, so I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to make sure that it is, I always forget which is which. There, now it's centered the way I want it. Okay, now on my button, I'm going to go back to text and delete where it says text for button. I don't need that. Okay, I'm going to delete that out of there. No, you can't delete it in here. You have to go over here to get rid of it. Okay, so now I have my button. If you want to resize it, you can always come in here to height and just say 150 pixels by width of 150, and you just kind of keep typing until you get the size that you want. 100, that's pretty small, so I might want to go back and say, oh, just kidding, I want 300. And just kind of keep guessing until you get the size you want. You don't have to change the size at all, but if you want to, that's how you do it, okay? All right, so I have that done. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sound to it. I want it so that when I push the button, I get a sound. So I'm going to come over here to Media, choose my player, and drag that on top. And it doesn't show up, it's down here. It's a non-visible component, okay? So now that I have my player, I need to decide which sound I'm going to use. So I'm going to go over to Source, go to Upload File, and again, if you're doing this at home, use the sound that I gave you. Otherwise, just go to AppInventor, Sounds, and there's a bunch of sounds in here to choose from. Okay, so I'm just going to do ta-da, and click OK. Now, you're not going to be able to hear it. You're like, oh, I wonder what sound it makes. You're not going to be able to hear it until you test it. If you're doing this as a makeup assignment, I'll be honest, we're not going to test it because it's one of those things that's hard to do outside of the classroom, so you really don't need to worry about it, but just make sure you've added a sound. All right, so now that I've added a sound, that's great and all, but I have to actually program it so that the sound works when it's an app. So I'm going to go over here to Blocks, and I'm going to choose my button. And when I click on button, it gives me all the things I can do with this button. I want to make it click. So when I click on button 1, I'm going to go to player, then I want my player to start. Okay? So now, if I were to test this right now, which you can do if you have an Android phone, you can test it. When you push the button, it would make a noise. Okay? So let's go back to Designer. By the way, if you want to test it, if you have an Android phone and you want to test it, you've got to download the app called MIT AppInventor, AI Companion, and then you do Connect and AI Companion, and you scan the QR code. It's a big pain. You don't have to do it for the assignment, but you can if you want. All right. So now we've got a button that makes a sound. Next thing we're going to do is put some text in. So I'm going to come down here to Layout and do vertical arrangement. I'm going to drag that in. Now, depending on what picture you picked, you can put it wherever you want. You can put it above, you can put it below, whatever you like. You could do 2 if you want, because we're going to have 2 things that are typed in. If you want to have one above and below. And I know mine's really big right now, but it's going to get fixed in a second. So now I'm going to go back to User Interface, and I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Label and drag a label inside. And then I'm going to drag a second label inside. And see, that shrinks it down. So if you want to have one on top, one on bottom, if you want to have both labels inside the same place, doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you have at least one vertical arrangement and that you have a label. Okay? So these labels are going to tell the user what to do. So I'm going to click on my label 1. In order to change what it says, I'm going to come over here to text. And because this is a Magic 8-Ball, I'm going to say, ask the Magic 8-Ball a question. If you used a different picture, if you used the unicorn or the minion or something else, then maybe reword it to fit whatever it is that you picked. Okay? Then I'm going to go to label 2, and where it says text for label 2, I'm going to say tap the 8-ball for your answer. Tell it what to do. Okay? Maybe, pet the unicorn to get your answer or something, whatever you want to say. And spell answer right. That would be great. Okay, so now it says tap the 8-ball for your answer. If you want to play with your text colors and stuff, you're welcome to, but you really don't have to. You can go to your vertical arrangement and change the background color if you want to, but again, that's certainly not required, but it does look kind of cool if you kind of want to mess with that a little bit. Okay, that was my text. By the way, you can't do edit undo in this, which drives me crazy. So I want to change, and then you can change your font size if you want, make it bigger, whatever. All right, so now I have that ready to go. Now I'm ready for my final thing, which is the blocks. And this is the part that I'm going to be grading you on, okay? So you're going to click on your label 2, and you're going to choose the one that says label 2 text 2, this one right here. You're going to drag this in and put it right there. Then you're going to go to lists, and you're going to choose pick random item list. Then you go to list again and choose make a list. You with me? Okay. Then I'm going to go to text and I'm going to grab this first one and plug it in. So what's going to happen is, if you haven't figured it out, what's going to happen is this app, when you tap the magic 8 ball, it's going to answer your questions. You can say, am I going to get married this year? Tap it. It's going to say yes, no, maybe, right? So we're going to be creating answers. You want more than 2 answers. So what I'm going to do is click on this little gear guy, and I'm going to grab item and drag it in like that. And I can drag as many as I want. For this assignment, you have to have at least 8, okay? So when I grade this, I just check to see that you have all of this done and you have at least 8 of these. So now I have more room. I can go back to text, grab another one of these, or what I like to do is just do Control-C and then Control-V a bunch of times, and then I don't have to go grab it again. I can just pull it in a lot quicker. Okay? And now I got to go type in what it says. So, yes, that. Or you could say yes or no. I like to make mine really funny, like, no, that was a dumb question. Try again. Or, I don't want to answer because I don't like you. Or something. I don't care. You can make it funny if you want. I always tend to make mine kind of mean because I'm a jerk, I guess. But anyway, you can make yours say whatever you want it to say. And you've got 8 of them in, and that is what I grade you on. So when you are ready, you need to show me this, and I will jot it down in my book, and you've got your grade. For a side note, though, if you really do want to put this on your phone or you really want to test it, you can go to Connect, and if you have a phone, you can do AI Companion, and you need to install the app on your phone. That's the MIT Inventor. Then you go to AI Companion, it's going to give you this. You take a picture of it using the app you just installed, and it will be on your phone. It's not installed, it's just there to test it. The other option, if you don't have an Android phone, you have to download the AI Starter, which I've put on the website if you want to download it. And it looks like this AI Starter. So I've made that available to you if you want it, but you absolutely do not have to do that. But you would just click on this and let that be running in the background. See, it's right there running, okay? And once that's running in the background, then I can go up here to Connect and do Emulator. And it's going to take a minute. In a second, a little phone is going to pop up, a little fake phone. I'll be honest, though, it's finicky. I can't always get it to work for everybody. There's always a few kids in the class that never do get theirs to work. Sometimes I can't get mine to work, so it is finicky, which is why I don't make it part of the assignment that you do this. But if you're excited and you really want to see how your app works, this is what you do. And see, mine's kind of taking a time. I don't know if it'll work, but a little miniature phone's going to pop up. Just sit and wait and wait. See, mine wouldn't do it, so I'm not able to do it. I told you it's finicky. And it will let you test it. Last of all, again, this is optional if you want to build it. If you want to actually put the app on your phone. So you've tested it, it's working, it's cool. You want it on your phone. The easiest way is to do this. Do it a QR code. Scan it in the same way. It's going to package it. It's going to take a minute, package it. And then scan it the same way you did before. And it will install it on your phone. But I'll be honest, that doesn't always work. So if that way doesn't work, then you want to go to build again, and this time choose the other option right here, and it will save it as an APK file on your computer. So there's the little thing that I would scan if I wanted it on my machine. Okay, the other way is to do an APK file. That'll put it on your computer. Then you got to get that computer onto your phone. So email it to yourself, put it in Google Drive, and then double click on it, install it that way. Again, not required. Okay. What you really need for the credit in my class is to just show me this page completed with all 8 of them done, and you're done, okay? So that is how you do the App Inventor. Good luck, and we'll see you later.